These are real high quality, extremely low priced, generic labeled versions of the very, very expensive airbrushes that look exactly like these. They look exactly like them because they come out of the same factory and the same machines. That factory is in Hong Kong. It's in China, not in Japan, even though when you buy the real expensive ones, you think you're buying them from Japan. You're not. Other than German-made airbrushes, the American and Japanese-made airbrushes are really made in China. They're just repackaged and relabeled. So unless you're going to buy German made, you are buying Chinese. These are the really great ones. Now, I tested a lot of low priced airbrushes over a long time, most of which weren't worth my time and effort. They were worthless. These ones are superb. They are exactly what they look like, believe it or not. And this 130 model, which is the real workhorse that I recommend, costs about $25. Not $250, $25. The 180, the other airbrush here, I have the quick coupler on. This has an adjustable tip on it. It's a really great detail airbrush. We'll show you in a second some more features here. But it has that air adjustment at the nozzle. This one runs only about $35, which would, if you pay for the corporate name on them, is going to cost you $300, $350. So you save yourself a ton of money by not getting ripped off for paying for some corporation and their fancy brand name and advertising and so forth. These are the exact same airbrushes out of the exact same factory. These are just generic labeled ones. So these are the two that I recommend. The link to them is on my website for both of these airbrushes, and everything else on these. We'll show you a little bit more on these here in the rest of this video. You can see some more features that we have on these that these guys make that I think you're really going to like. Okay, let's take a look on these Veda airbrushes. This is the Model 180. This comes with both. You can have the airline screw on here just normally, which is the typical way you would attach it, or you can use this quick release that comes with their airbrushes. The 180 and the 130 both come with this quick release device, and this is a way to the quick coupler to be able to quickly and easily detach your hose from your airbrush. I think it'd be real handy. So just wanted to show you this device and what it is and how it works. You screw that smaller piece there on the airbrush, just where you'd put the line normally, and then you screw the line into the larger piece here, and that's the actual quick release coupler there, the actual spring-loaded fitting there. And you watch, you just insert that in there, and there's a ring that you pull back, that big ring there, and you just quickly and easily detach that. You play with that a little bit, just pull that down, and it pops right off of there. Okay, this is the 180 with the air adjustment up there towards the front there. We'll show you just what that is. Just a little screw in, screw out air adjustment. It's going to change your air and material flow to go from a super fine point to, a fairly fine, a good general airbrush. So you can just change it that quickly. We'll show you a demonstration of that here in a second, but it's just turn it in, turn it out, and you're going from one airbrush to another just like that. It's really neat. Okay, we'll show you a quick demonstration of the 180 here. Changing the airflow here. I've got it kind of general, kind of generic, and I turn it down, and all of a sudden you're at this really thin, pencil thin line that you can do really fine work with, and then you turn it back up and your line starts getting wider. This is a really convenient, really neat feature, and so again, this is about a $35 airbrush. Okay, while you're on their website, when you go there to buy the airbrushes, you might click on accessories and buy whatever adapters you might need. If you're going to run an airbrush off of a regular compressor, they've got a number of adapters and fittings that you can choose from that will work for you. Or you can go to your local hardware store, home improvement store, with your air hose line when you get it, and just kind of mix and match and find the adapter that you're going to need to do that with. They should have it in their air fittings, in their air compressor area. Sometimes you'll have to use a couple of different fittings. If they don't have the right one, you'll have to kind of double step it, but there's a way to do it. Now with a airbrush compressor like this little one, the fittings would already be on there for the small airbrush line. It's up to you what kind of compressor you want to use. These ones are okay. They're tiny little compressors. They're going to run all the time, and they tend to bounce themselves around a little bit because of that. But because they're so small, they kind of run all the time when you are airbrushing. But they're okay. It's just, you need to know and understand what each compressor will do and won't do, and what you might like about them. And if you do get one of these tiny compressors, my advice would be to put it in inside of a milk crate or something like that to keep it from bouncing around. That's also an easy way to carry it around with you. You simply want to throw some folded up towels or an old seat cushion or something in there, and then put the air compressor, the little airbrushing compressor on top of that, and that'll cushion it, quiet the sound a little bit, keep it from bouncing around and so forth. And with those little compressors and some sort of setup like that, or this, you can easily carry it around, take it from place to place if that's what you want to do. Just some ideas for you. And of course, getting back to the idea of the adapter we talked about a while ago, any regular shop compressor from this small one on up will work for you. And you can do various couplings and so forth, and use the adapters to fit to your airbrush line and so forth. Of these small ones, this is one of the smaller ones from Harbor Freight. They've got a couple in this size range. One of them is a regular elongated tank compressor, and then there's this one with the pancake shaped compressor. I kind of prefer this one. It tends to not bounce around as much. These compressors can be loud and so forth. Something to keep in mind. If you want a more quiet compressor, you can check for ratings and so forth. One person found this. It's a very ultra quiet compressor. I have the link to it on my website. They sell these on I think Amazon and so forth. There's a number of places you can get them, of course, but there are different noise ranges to compressors, and there is the possibility, if you want, of buying a very quiet air compressor if you need that for your situation, or you would prefer that for whatever reason.